Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So I have the Bitcoin chart open here, and I'd like to discuss what is currently taking place on this chart. Now, if you're familiar with some of my previous videos on Bitcoin, you'll know that I have discussed the different structures that exist, the two different types of structures that exist in a Bitcoin bear market. I label them pattern A and pattern B. Essentially, they're very similar to each other. Pattern A at the bottom does a V bottom. Pattern B at the bottom of the decline does a bounce. They alternate. That is why I believe that this structure here is actually a pattern B. For more about these structures, please watch this video here. So let me delve into the way I see things currently playing out. Okay, so here is the basic structure of this decline. So we have the initial peak. Normally, this peak goes higher than this wave right here, this wave 1. So there's the initial peak. Here is wave 1, here is wave 2, and here is wave 3. Now, in these structures, there are always three waves down to a capitulation point, whether it's a pattern A or a pattern B. Sometimes they resemble more bounces, going sideways and bouncing, and sometimes they resemble a downward kind of stair type thing like this, as we see here. So I have been of the opinion that there is a possibility that Bitcoin could potentially drop further, somewhere to around $11,000, give or take $11,700. Now, lately I have been changing my mind, and I'll show you why. So if you place a structure, another pattern B structure from back in 2011, the 2011 decline, you'll see some similarities. Let me put that on for you real quick. Okay, so here is that declining structure from 2011, and as you can see, there is some similarities. We have the drop here. It just kind of follows that stair step downwards down to the bottom here. So if this is what is playing out, we would see something like this taking place, which would be the bounce. So we would be working on the bounce right now. Now, if you zoom in closer, and by the way, there are some differences. No structure or fractal, when it repeats, is ever going to be exact. There's always going to be some uniqueness to it, and that is because timing, height, and depth, they're all going to be original every single time a fractal plays out. So here is one potential possibility that we might see, or some deviation or variation of it. So we have this bounce right here. So in this fractal, you have this one wave up, it comes to a peak, and then it kind of does this swoop down, and then these two parts right here before dropping. So in today's chart, we see that move up here. It's in two different parts, a wave right here, and then it comes to a peak. You have, I believe, this part right here could potentially be this right here. And now we are working on this move up right here. If something similar to this would play out, we would see it go down, come back up again, and then drop. Now, it is this drop that we don't know much about at this point. It could drop very little, or it could be a severe drop. Again, timing, height, and depth, those are all going to be unique whenever a fractal plays out. So if that is the case, though, we are near the bottom, potentially very near the bottom. Historically speaking, this part right here on the bounce, where it terminates the bounce, is many times just a little bit lower than this point right here. So this is one structure that we should keep an eye on. And if we look back over here, again, it's not exact, but we do have confluency with the decline and just the rough structure, the basic outline of the decline. Let's take this structure off and put on another structure from 2013. Okay, so here is that declining structure from 2013. Again, this is another pattern B structure. It does a bounce down here at the end. This has a kind of a double bounce to it. So as you can see, it also follows the rough basic outline of today's declining structure. we have the decline here. It moves back up, it drops, moves back up here, kind of goes sideways here, and then drops. So if we are following something like this, and this one actually, to me, looks more like a closer match than the 2011 one. Let's zoom in here on the bounce and see what could possibly be playing out if we are following something like this. Okay, so here would be the end of wave 3. It drops, and now we are working on the bounce. So if we are going to do something similar to this, instead of kind of moving up like the other one did and dropping, we might see something like this, where it comes up to challenge the upper side of this range right here. Now, we don't know how high this would move up, but essentially it would potentially do something similar to this. Now, of course, it's going to be original. Every time a fractal repeats, it's going to be structurally doing the same thing, but the way it plays out will have an originality to it. So really, we are at a point where either it begins to drop or it moves up and does something similar to this. I'm going to throw on the 2011 structure, and we can compare this structure to the 2011 structure at this bounce part. Okay, so the blue one is from 2011 and the purple one is from 2013. So as you can see, we are kind of at this crossroads right here. Will it go up or will it go down? I don't know the answer to that. Time will tell, though. But the cool thing is that I believe we are potentially very near the end. I no longer believe that we have to drop much further. Just the way this structure has continued to play out, I believe we are potentially at the bottom or very near the bottom. And there are some unknowns. Like I said, this leg down right here, it could be small or it could be exaggerated. I would be open to both of those things. Now let's zoom out and see how this plays into this coming year. Okay, so it's a little confusing. So the blue one is from 2011, the purple one is from 2013. And as you can see, from here on, it will start to either move up more drastically or go sideways, sort of. So there is this structure right here that we should expect to play out. In the 2013 one, it looked like this. In the 2011 one, it looked like this. This structure right here is a very common structure that plays out after a Bitcoin decline. However, we do not see a new all-time high being set this year if the timing is going to be something similar to what we see on these two structures. Now, timing, like I said, is unique every single time. Now, we could have that move up real fast and furious, or we could see something more like this, and this is what history has to say is potentially in the cards, or some mixture of these two things. But I would be open to something like this happening as well. So folks, to sum this up, so that is what historical data shows. It shows, one, that we are potentially at or very near the bottom. It also shows that, historically speaking, when you take those fractals and match them to the size and speed of this decline, that we potentially may not see an all-time high, a new all-time high in the year of 2023. However, we should see either it start to move up or potentially kind of go sideways for a time. There'll also be some common structures that we should expect to play out that take place after a Bitcoin decline. Well, I hope this video was helpful. You know, if you find this type of analysis interesting, where I deep dive into the chart and examine fractals and patterns and the overall structure, you should hit that subscribe button, and that way you'll be kept up to date with my videos. I will continue to follow this structure, so as it continues to develop, I will put out my thoughts and my technical analysis on it. One other thing to point out, I am not a financial advisor, so none of this information that I present here should be used or construed as financial or investment advice. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.